TopCon, we know a thing or two about a smooth surface. Roads and highways? Piece of cake. Airports? Let's just say it'll be the smoothest landing you've ever had. But what about when you want to go fast? Real fast? No. Faster. We've helped cars go faster than they've ever gone before. Broken a few lap records along the way. Want the best paving performance? Go to the source. TopCon, always one step ahead.
Hey, your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie, my niece, your cousin, and Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, and then the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers, and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Go to sleep. I love you. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Championship so close he can taste it. Oliver Askew has won the Freedom 100. Side by side. And your new champion, Rasmussen.
Good morning, race fans, and welcome to Road to Indy TV Live. I'm here with Rob Howden. Rob, we've had some exciting racing so far.
Yeah.
We got two more races to come: Indy Pro 2000 Race 2 and Indy Lights Race 2.
Yesterday was wild. I think the USF 2000 event kind of caught everybody off guard. 5 different full course yellows, a lot of incidents. It almost was like we had a bunch of drivers, the first-year drivers who got a little bit of confidence at Barber Motorsports Park and came here and thought they could get super aggressive. Normally, St. Petersburg is the first race of the season. The rookies come in being a little more tentative. They want to take care of their cars. I just feel like they had a lot of confidence rolling in because we had a lot of guys getting over-aggressive.
100%. And even we saw in the Indy Lights race 1, I couldn't believe there wasn't more crashes.
I was happy with that race, though.
But, wow, those guys were pushing each other hard.
True enough.
I mean, I've never seen Indy Lights cars make so much contact.
What did you think about Kyle Kirkwood being able to come out of the gate as he did? Obviously, had some struggles at Barber Motorsports Park, and David Malukas the start of the opening race, but he comes back here, his first win. 22nd road to Indy victory, but, man, for him to be able to do it here, big time.
Well, big time, and I actually had Kyle on after he won his race, and I told him his ears must have been ringing because Barber Motorsports Park, I had him down for the count. And he definitely came out and proved me wrong, and I'm sure a bunch of other people. You can never count Kyle Kirkwood out. Solid job. And, you know, he brought this up that he's always kind of struggled at the Grand Prix St. Petersburg. He's never really had a breakthrough race here. I know he won in USF 2000, but in Indy Pro 2000 he never did.
Interesting, yeah.
Never did win the race
here. He had some issues at the start of the rear. You're correct.
And he seemed to always struggle to get his championship off the ground. So I think, you know, such a turnaround, right? One of the worst starts to his championship at Barber Motorsports Park in Indy Lights, and then to come away with a win right out of the gate here at Grand Prix St. Petersburg. It's his home state. I think that's going to carry him some confidence.
We're literally talking about him right now, and he's right over there, Kyle Kirkwood, right now as we're chatting about him. Kyle will be back on the racetrack to try to see if he can do the double. We already saw a double here. Really, you and I, before we came on, one of the big stories this particular weekend, the breakout for Exclusive Autosport, I think, Michael and Kimberly Duncalf's team. Christian Brooks winning both races in USF 2000, back-to-back jacks for him. Great run for Matt Round-Garrido, their young driver as well. Billy Fraser from New Zealand having a fourth-place finish and then coming back, I think, up 6 spots in race 2. Braden Eves winning in Indy Pro 2000 yesterday, and now it's his turn. Can he follow up Christian Brooks' teammate? Can they win all 4 races in USF 2000 and Indy Pro?
Well, if we get into Indy Pro Race 2, obviously the storyline for Indy Pro Race 2 qualifying was the fact that Braden Eves didn't go out until 5 minutes to go.
Trouble with the transponder. They had the side pod off. They were going to work on that. I don't know if they just replaced it, whatever. They finally got him on the racetrack, but he was only able to get 4 laps in, and it was that final lap. Little mistake on the final lap, and he might have went P1 instead, starting on the outside of row number 3, and this is a tough place to pass, as we know. Hunter McElroy, though, able to convert, and he starts on pole. giving him a chance for race win number 2.
Well, we talk about close to pole, though. I mean, to go out and qualify 6 in 4 laps.
Yeah.
A lot of Road to Indy fans don't realize the weight of the fuel in the car. If you don't burn it off,
That was the big, yeah.
That's 3 or 4 tenths at the end of the session. Just
Is
the
it that
weight
much?
of the fuel of the car alone. And then not only that, getting warmed up. The track changes so much here at the Grand Prix St. Petersburg. When you miss the first 15 minutes, you've got no idea what to expect of track conditions. So Braden Eves bombs it out of the pit lane, goes out for 4 laps. I thought if he could get anywhere in the top 10, it would be an opportunity for him. But he comes away 6th.
And you're right, in looking at the results, as we were calling it during that session, I want to think 11, 12 laps for everybody else. And you talk about the fuel burn, only 4 laps for Braden. We talked about that in the deal, too, as well. The fact that he was simply going to be higher on the weight. But, again, for him, you come in as the point leader. What's the mindset starting from P6, the outside of row number 3? Up front, different. How is he thinking about going through turn number 1?
Well, let's look at Braden Eves' championship in USF 2000. I felt like he came out of the gate really strong. He got wins in the first 3 rounds and then kind of went on this mute point, didn't get a lot of wins, and actually kind of let the championship slip away from him there towards the end. So if I'm Braden Eves, if I'm a betting man, I'm thinking Braden's going to go, no, I'm putting the nail in the hammer all the way through. We're taking no prisoners.
And that's one thing I brought up, too, because this what I love about the Hunter McElroy versus Braden Eves, it kind of reminds me of the Oliver Askew versus Renus VK, right? Oliver Askew won the championship in USF 2000. Renus was second. Both drivers getting a lot of wins. Renus came back in Indy Pro 2000. He was able to get the title while Oliver, I think, finished 3rd or 4th. Then Oliver comes back in Indy Lights again. And, of course, they've both moved on to the NTT IndyCar Series. We hope to see Oliver back. But this is another one of those rivalries, right? They battled it out in 2019. They were both rookies last year in Indy Pro. And now Hunter McElroy with the win, Braden Eves with the win. And then we'll get to Christian Rasmussen because I think he's been one of the great stories here, his rookie run. So super impressive for Jay Howard.
Yeah. I mean, we have to talk about Christian Rasmussen. Really, he was the excitement of race 1.
Yeah.
And I thought he was going to have a shot at Braden there at the end.
I did too. But obviously he got close, right? And we talk about Aero Wash as well. He got close, but once you get close, it's all they could really do. And Braden, I think he had kept a little bit in the back. You know what I mean? You're a second and a half. A second, that's good enough of a gap for me. I really think Braden probably had a little more to dig in if he wanted.
I do, but he was, I tell you what, when he got on the broadcast after his race, you could tell he was pretty exhausted.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
and he was quite honest about it, that it was a tougher race than he expected.
How physical are these cars? The USF 2000, Indy Pro, Indy Lights, obviously more of everything as you go up, more downforce, bigger brakes, bigger tires. How physical is the Indy Pro 2000 car here?
So I have had experience driving all 3 cars. I've had experience in Indy Lights at the Grand Prix or at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Chris Griffiths test, and then I've raced Indy Pro for a long time, raced USF. USF and Indy Pro are similar. It's the same tub.
Yeah.
Very same feeling in the wheel. You experience a lot more G with the Indy Pro car. It's a lot faster. The cornering speeds are a lot higher, and the tires are larger, right? Essentially, the rear tires of a USF 2000 car are the same size as the front tires of an Indy Pro car.
Okay, that's a good
so
comparison.
You've got a lot more tire there to move around. What's really interesting, and not a lot of experience in Indy Lights, but I can tell you that the steering rack and the way that the caster's set up on the front, it's actually a lighter wheel to turn.
Interesting.
So
I actually have heard that before.
The Indy Pro, like you go to the oval at Lucas Oil Raceway, and that is, I would say, the toughest race that I've ever done.
Really?
In anything I've done. When we talk about sports cars, we talk about...
In the Indy Pro 2000 car?
In the Indy Pro 2000 car, the Lucas Oil Raceway. And I've heard, a lot of drivers, when we're honest with each other, Lucas Oil has been the one race where you get no break, right? It's just constant turn.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, you take it here. I'm not saying that the Indy Pro car is more physical than the Indy Lights car. I think there's more adjustability in the Lights car to make the car lighter to drive.
Okay, yeah.
But the Indy Pro car is pretty full on.
Let's dive into this race here because we're getting close. I know the drivers are all worked their way to the mock grid in the back straightaway. Again, front row, pretty solid start here for Hunter McElroy. Christian Rasmussen, very strong for Jay Howard. They've come out of the gate really well as a brand new team in Indy Pro 2000. Then you've got the drivers as well from Juncos Racing, Manuel Suleiman and Reese Gold, looking pretty good. They're going to be on row number 2 behind the front. And then they've got Kiffin Simpson, the rookie driver, inside of Braden Eves on row 3. The Juncos guys seem to be dialing things in. Reese Gold's a young guy, still only 16 years of age. He started F2000 USF when he was 14. So I think we got time for Reese, but he has really come out of the gate pretty strongly.
He has come out of the gate pretty strongly. And one thing, when you've got 3 cars grouped together like that, it'll be interesting. I'm sure everybody saw the Indy Lights race 1 where Andretti kind of gobbled up HMD of Malukas.
That's no doubt they did.
And they bullied him around, right? Because they were being nice to each other. But as soon as you get a non-team car in the mix, I know Robert McGuinness was feeding him a couple wheels around the racetrack.
Malukas said that when he came to Victory Lane. It's like, man, you Andretti guys making some sketchy moves out there. They were, and like I said, gobble them up was good. They were on the outside, they were on the inside. And you're right, maybe that's going to happen with 3 Juncos cars in there. They can get aggressive as well.
And then the other storyline of this race that's going to be interesting is Hunter McElroy, his first pole in Indy Pro 2000.
Yeah, that's right.
It's always a question mark. Leading from pole, can you get the job done? He's won twice, not on pole. Now, can he go get the job done? And as a driver, you're going, do I have the pace? You know, I'm not taking anything away from his pole, but Braden Eves didn't get to qualify fully. And Braden said on the broadcast yesterday, I 100% would have had pole if they would have let me go.
I hear that from every driver.
Hey, I'm just
say
saying, as Hunter, you got to go prove him wrong.
So here's my line then. This is my input on that. Hunter McElroy, race winner in USF 2000, was able to win a race at the end. He won the final race last year here at St. Petersburg. I think he's got a ton of confidence right now. I think he's going to be good. I think he wins from P1.
Okay, that's your call. I'm going Braden. I think you're going to see him get in the mix. I'm not saying he's going to be there for the win at the end, but I'm saying he's going to be banking on the door. This is one of the toughest street courses here that the drivers have to face. So let's dive in and give the fans a little insight to what the drivers have to face at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. For the second round of the Road to Indy Championships, we are here in sunny Florida to take battle on the streets of St. Petersburg. This unique street circuit is 14 turns, 1.8 miles, and it's enclosed by concrete walls. It is one of the toughest street circuits that the Road to Indy drivers will have to face this year, as it is not only as wide as an airport runway down Albert Whitted Airport, it's as narrow as a crosswalk as we get into the streets of St. Petersburg and we come down here down Bayshore Drive. As drivers barrel down Albert Whitted Runway, they reach speeds of over 150 miles per hour as they somehow have to get the car stopped from a track as wide as a runway to as narrow as a sidewalk in turns 1 and 2. We move on to turn 4, one of the biggest brake zones on the track, and the drivers will have to face the crown in the road as they meet the heart of downtown St. Petersburg and the tricky streets. The next notable corners are turns 8 and 9, which set the run back down Bayshore Drive in towards turn 10. As you exit turn 10, you're almost home, but drivers can't get distracted by all of the yachts in the marina. Turns 11 and 12, one of the most tricky. It's flat out, but it's hairy. It's right on the edge of concrete versus machine. Turns 13 and 14 set up your most important run, no pun intended, as you get back onto the Albert Whitted runway and cross the start-finish line here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg.
TopCon. We know a thing or two about a smooth surface. Roads and highways, piece of cake. Airports, let's just say it'll be the smoothest landing you've ever had. But what about when you want to go fast? Real fast? No, faster. We've helped cars go faster than they've ever gone before. Broken a few lap records along the way. Want the best paving performance? Go to the source. TopCon, always one step ahead.
Hey, your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie, my niece, your cousin, and Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, and then the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers, and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Go to sleep. I love you.
Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
karting and motorsport enthusiasts. Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the Road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
Race car drivers are always looking for a leg up. And with modern day racing at an all-time high for cost, the best way to do that is through sim racing. I'm here with Greg DeGeorgis, owner of Symmetric Labs, and he's going to take us behind the scenes on what it's like to run a high-performance simulation. Greg, what have we got here? How did you get into sim racing, and what are you offering for the Road to Indy athletes?
Yeah, so we really offer drivers a head start on the racing weekend to take the first bite off of their learning curve to get prepped on at races and everything. My background is as a data engineer. I am not a driver or a driver coach, but I've worked with a lot of championship-winning teams, drivers, coaches, and efforts to get drivers prepared. So I know what it takes to win.
Take me through the process of becoming a Symmetric Labs customer.
It's really simple. We offer unlimited packages to drivers where they come in for a flat fee and they drive as much as they want for the entire race weekend. So there's no counting a clock or anything like that. To get the most out of it or anything. We'll take multiple appointments throughout the race week, and we usually front load on load in and practice day, and then we'll usually do morning warm-ups before qualifying into a race day to get drivers fully ready to go. So at 8 o'clock in the morning before an early qualifying or something like that, they're ready to turn really fast laps.
What do you view as the biggest jump these drivers are getting when they get on the sim? For me, when I get on the sim, it's usually for track learning, but I'm sure they're learning a lot more than just how to go around the track. What are they learning on the race weekends, and what are you teaching them?
Yeah, so like you said, a lot of what people assume with simulators is that all they can learn is new tracks. That's true. It's definitely a big part of it. But we can also teach drivers to get really comfortable. I have excellent models of all three other Road to Indy cars that I developed in-house with all the logger, tire, manufacturer data, and a lot of feedback from real drivers so they feel as real as possible. So with really, really good car and track models, we can actually work on even focus conditioning with these drivers where they know the car, they know the track, and we're going to let them run in the sim for an hour with the heat on, all over their gear. I'm going to intentionally try to distract them, force them into mistakes, and then really try to work on their entire race stint or their stint performance.
Let's get to the real meat and potatoes though, which is the sim. This thing is gorgeous. Now, what simulator are you using?
So this is the CXE Simulations Motion Pro 2. It's about $100,000 sim. It's really the best sim that money can buy that also fits in an 8-foot wide trailer.
Wow. Okay, well, I can't wait to get on it. It looks unbelievable.
At TopCon, we know a thing or two about a smooth surface. Roads and highways? Piece of cake. Airports? Let's just say it'll be the smoothest landing you've ever had. But what about when you want to go fast? Real fast? No. Faster. We've helped cars go faster than they've ever gone before. Broken a few lap records along the way. Want the best paving performance? Go to the source. Topcon, always one step ahead.
Hey, your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie, my niece, your cousin, and Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, and then the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers, and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Go to sleep. I love you.
Go with the Coopers. Cooper.
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the Road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
And welcome back to St. Petersburg, Florida. Rob Howden alongside Todd Lewis here in the booth as we are getting set to go with the second race of the Indy Pro 2000 program, this Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. 17 drivers on the grid, ready to fire things up about 5 minutes away from the command to fire these engines. 16 drivers set to go here. Enzo Fittipaldi in the number 74 for RP Motorsport, not able to get the car repaired after an incident yesterday, so 16 drivers will take the green. Row number 8 will have Hunter Yaney on the outside, the rookie from Georgia for Velocity Racing Development in the number 11, starting 16th. Inside out of Vail, Colorado for Legacy Autosport, third-generation driver Flynn Lazier in the number 20. Row 7 will have Artem Petrov in the number 42 on the outside. A podium finish in race 1. Artem will be one to watch in the white and red exclusive Autosport machine starting back in 14th. He'll be on a tear working his way forward, while James Rowe Jr. from Turn 3 Motorsport, the Irish rookie, in the number 3 starting in the 13th position. Row number 6 on the outside. A little bit of trouble at the start coming off the pit lane for Cameron Shields out of Toowoomba, Australia, same hometown as Will Power. Shields in the D-Force Racing number 7, launching from row number 6. Inside of that row, it was a strong run yesterday, but had a little issue. But Jacob Abel in the number 51 out of Kentucky has had a solid weekend overall, showing good pace. He'll start 11th today and will try to work his way up into the top 10. Speaking of the top 10, we'll go row number 5 on the outside. Anam Ahmed from the UK for RP Motorsports, former British F3 champion, former FIA Formula 3 championship driver. Ahmed for RP Motorsports in the 77 has been one of the drivers who's really picked things up over the last a week and a half from the opening rounds at Barber Motorsports Park. Really getting a good feel for this race car, getting dialed in with the team. And Ahmed now starting 10th. I expect him to move his way up potentially into the top 5. Alongside him in the red number 40 for Miller Vinatieri Motorsports, the rookie out of Indiana, Jack William Miller starting in the 9th position. We'll go now to row number 4, Wyatt Prokachik, rookie coming up from USF 2000 for Jay Howard Driver Development. There's Prokachik right there. Very comfortable with this race car. Prokachik in the number 5 starting 8th. Alongside him out of Homer Glen, Illinois, second-year driver here in Indy Pro 2000, Colin Kaminsky in the number 27, the Slicks Locks machine for Pabst Racing starting in 7th. Row number 3 on the outside will be Braden Eves, the point leader right now, coming off the victory from yesterday from New Albany, Ohio. The exclusive Autosport driver had an issue in qualifying, as Parker Thompson and I mentioned in the pre-race, an issue with the transponder. Only able to get 4 flying laps in, but good enough to move him to P6. He'll launch from the outside of row number 3, and it'll be the young rookie out of the Cayman Islands, Kiffin Simpson, in the number 21 for Juncos Racing. He'll start 5th. Row number 2, all Juncos Racing. Second-year driver Manuel Suleiman in the number 22 from Mexico. 2 wins last year for Suleiman. He'll start 4th. And Reese Gold, just 16 years of age, 2 years in USF 2000, started at the age of 14, was a winner last year in USF 2000, moving up here to Indy Pro in 2021. He'll start in the number 55. 16 drivers in the field, 2 on the front row. Both these drivers with multiple USF 2000 wins to their credit. Hunter McElroy, the only one with an Indy Pro 2000 win so far. But on the outside, reigning USF 2000 champion from Denmark for J. Howard Driver Development. He's got the scholarship colors on the car. Christian Rasmussen in the number 1, starting in that P2 position. There he is right there, Christian Rasmussen, last year's champion in USF 2000. But the driver starting on the pole position, coming off a victory from round number 1 at Barber Motorsports Park out of New Zealand for Pabst Racing. Very talented driver. Hunter McElroy will be the pole sitter, a 108.353 in qualifying. McElroy, as we said, battling it out with Braden Eves 2 years ago in USF 2000. McElroy won the final race of the 2020 season here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, getting that momentum to roll through to 2021. Again, just seconds away from giving these drivers the time to fire up these engines, and they will take to the racetrack for what will be a tremendous event. It'll be 25 laps or 40 minutes. They put on a tremendous show yesterday. And, of course, Braden Eves able to get out early, holding off the late race advances of Christian Rasmussen. This time it will be McElroy trying to get through turn 1 cleanly. Rasmussen had a victory in his grasp at Barber Motorsports Park. Just a minor issue in turn number 5, looped the car. Then McElroy rolled up, and a little blocking penalty to Rasmussen moved him down from that race win. Engines have fired. You saw the command. They have brought these engines to life. 250 horsepower, all the drivers in the Tatis PM18 chassis. We've got the cockpit frontal device. We've got upgraded roll hoops this year. And we'll have a brand new tub for these drivers in 2022, as we'll have a halo-type device on a new Tatis. Joining me in the booth here today, one of the drivers we've seen in USF 2000, Simon Sykes for Legacy Autosport. You were able to run Simon at Barber Motorsports Park. Not able to get into the car here this weekend, but you'll be back for the Indy GP. But you've raced here before. What are your thoughts on this particular racetrack? We know it changes throughout the weekend, all the IndyCar rubber going down.
Well, good morning, Rob. And first of all, thank you for having me. I did race this track in October of last year with the second to last round of the USF 2000 Championship of the 2020 season. And so I was able to build some experience here, and I can tell you that this track is an ever-evolving place.
Yeah.
These guys in these Pro 2000 cars have not been out since IndyCar qualifying, so we have 2 sets of Firestone Reds that have laid down a lot of rubber, and it'll be interesting to see how these Pro 2000 drivers deal with these adapting track conditions.
Drivers have worked their way out onto the racetrack right now. Let's talk about that, Simon. Can you get a good feel on just the warm-up lap? Because we're obviously going to try to go green first time by. Is that opening lap just getting a feel? Can you get that grip, or is it the first lap at speed when you actually feel the racetrack?
Well, you can obviously get some tire temp and brake temperature on that opening lap is when you really start to feel what the track's doing and where you're going with it. I would assume that some of these teams have made setup changes to anticipate the evolving track to get ready for this and maximize their cars for this race.
And indeed, as Simon said, the engineers really, Todd, having to kind of roll the dice a bit, right? They're using all the knowledge they have, the time they've been here before. Here's what we think the track's going to be like. Here's what we think the chassis is going to be needing. Here's the setup we're going to use. Sometimes it's right. Sometimes it's not.
Understanding that it is also a different time of day. They've been out in the afternoon when the sun's been up, the track's been warmer. It's much cooler this morning. Even though the humidity is up and there's a cloud cover, it's significantly cooler this morning. So again, you're trying to anticipate all these variables to even out the playing field and jump forward quickly.
Full cloud cover, 75 degrees ambient temperature here. Trackside, 92% humidity. And again, the Road to Indy pace car out of turns 13 and 14. The hairpin leads onto the front straightaway. We're going to go green this time by. McElray, Rasmussen, row 1. Golden, Suleiman on row 2. Simpson and Eves, row 3. Kaminsky and Prokachik, row 4. Miller and Ahmed, row 5. Hello to those of you listening here and watching on the Road to Indy TV app. It's time to go racing here in St. Petersburg. Round 2 for Indy Pro 2000. Hunter McElray will lead him into the start zone. Waiting for the punch-off. Aaron Lyken's on the tower, our official flagman. Way late in this run. Green, green, green. And McElray waiting deeper into the start zone. Everybody just itching to get on the throttle. McElray trying to roll through the corner. Look at Rasmussen to the outside. He gets a pretty good run. Rasmussen side by side through turn number 2. Tight racing here. Are they clean coming? Indeed, McElray holds on. Rasmussen smart to back out a little bit through turns 2 and 3 for the first time. Here's the run down to turn 4. Top 3 look good. Braden Eves up to P4 on the opening lap. Todd, that's exactly what Braden wanted, a couple of spots in the opening couple of corners.
And you see that the drivers have learned through the weekend as well. A little bit of smoke off one of the tires there, as there was just a slight touch, but they understand that moving through that area is very tight, and going back there is an issue.
Yeah, contact, I believe, further back at the track. Not exactly sure where that was. We had a couple drivers, I think, going off into the runoff area. There's contact. That might be Wyatt Prokachik, I think. Looks like one of the J. Howard driver development machines. Prokachik again in the number 5. Looks like potentially an issue for the number 3 as well of James Rowe Jr. The 21 involved Kiffin Simpson. So full course yellow, first time around the racetrack here. Indeed, a number of drivers involved. I want to say over in turn number 8, that's the turn into the 8-9 complex. I think it's Wyatt Prokachik and Kiffin Simpson. They started 6th and 7th respectively. It looks like potentially a driver having trouble in turn 3, between turn 3 and turn 4, James Rowe Jr. So that's not the start we wanted, although maybe not for Hunter McElray, Simon, because I think Braden Eves pretty happy. He ends up going from 6th to 4th. We get the full course yellow. Nobody's getting away from him. Braden Eves couldn't have asked for anything more.
Absolutely not. And as you get farther and farther into the race, these cars generate some air wash off the back. And so in a long stint of green flag running, it becomes more difficult to pass. And so making these positions up on the start is hugely beneficial to him and his bid to get up to the front.
As we roll around the track, I'm sure we're going to have a look potentially what happened to James Rowe. Yeah, they had our track man had him between turn 3 and 4. I don't see him here. He may have been off the racetrack at the end of turn number 4. So it's Wyatt Prokachik, Kiffin Simpson, and James Rowe Jr., the drivers involved here. This will be the run through turn number 4. We look back, we might see if Rowe's on the outside of the racetrack. No, we're here, follow him now through turns 5 and 6 through 7 and over to turn number 8. We've got you here right now, Simon. Opening lap, let's say you're starting mid-pack. What's the visibility like? I got to think that you're really kind of fixating on the gearbox in front of you. You're trying to assess the situation, where other drivers are making moves. How tight is it? How tight does it look going through these concrete walls when you're, literally sitting 3 inches off the ground?
Well, regardless of whether there are cars around you or not, it's always tight, and you get in these first lap situations, and everything becomes smaller. You've got 2 or 3 cars right in front of you. You've got people right behind you trying to make moves on you, and so you're trying to manage all that while going through one of the tightest sections we run in Road to Indy.
Again, Simon Sykes joining us here, one of our drivers in the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship for Legacy Autosport and Maradi Autosport. We'll see him back in the car on the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Interesting, you and I did a podcast before last year's race. When we ran the road course at Indy last year, it was the first time you'd ever even driven under the tunnel into the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You had a chance to race there. How excited are you getting back to IMS?
Oh, it's honestly my first USF race there, and it was absolutely one of my favorite tracks. I'm thrilled to go back. I feel like in my first USF weekend, we finished on a fairly strong note, and I feel like we'll have a strong weekend there.
Yeah, overall, a pretty darn good year for you last year. You end up winning the F1600 Championship Series. You get a chance to do a bunch of races in USF 2000. You're also an SCCA Runoffs champion as well. You added to the resume quite a bit in 2020.
Last year was a blessing. I can't thank Greg Rice and Will Maradi enough for their continued support in making that happen. And in the year of COVID, everything seemed to come together for me.
Right.
The one year where everything was shut down, I did more races than I ever had in my life.
Amazing. Fantastic. And also, although you weren't able to go to Europe, you were also selected to be part of Team USA and the Team USA Scholarship. Another honor there, joining a list of absolute legends in the sport. So, folks, again, working lap number 3 under the yellow here right now. The incident, again, in a turn, as we said, I believe turn number 8 and 9. I think into turn 8, the entry to turn number 8. An incident between Wyatt Prokachik and Kiffin Simpson. Not yet sure what happened to James Rowe Jr., but otherwise 3 drivers out of this race right now. We saw the damage to Wyatt Prokachik, his Jay Howard Driver Development number 5 machine. It's going to leave us with, as I said, 13 drivers left. Hunter McElroy able to get the jump. And you can see now the AMR safety crew going to work on Prokachik. They'll bring that hauler in there. The steps towing machine will get that car picked up. From what I can see here, Simon, some pretty significant damage. I want to say at least a couple of corners on the car of Prokachik.
It's never a small incident when you crash here.
That's a really good point.
There's a lot of things you can get away with at proper road courses, but when you come to the streets of St. Petersburg, any little mistake can turn into a very, very big, expensive crash very quickly.
Yeah, the concrete has this tendency to stop you pretty quickly. And again, these cars are designed, one of the things about it is they're designed to shear off their parts. The way that the suspension will mount onto the carbon fiber monocoque, the design is to shear that off so that the energy, of course, doesn't get transmitted into the car itself and into the driver. So all those pieces doing their work for Wyatt Prokachik, although it will be a costly repair for the drivers from Jay Howard's team. But again, he, Rowe, and Simpson all involved there as well. A little bit longer of a cleanup than I think we expected. I'm sure that they were going to work on Kiffin Simpson first. Wyatt Prokachik, they'll go to work on him second. Another narrow part of the racetrack. Todd, we saw this yesterday. Literally, because of the incident we had going into turn number 8. Yeah, there's the damage there for James Rowe. That's actually coming out of turn number 4 through turn number 5. So they got together early. Right front damage for James Rowe in the Topcon machine. There's Anam Ahmed rolling through. Colin Kaminsky, I believe, as well. Jacob Abel will follow. But we saw that over there, Todd, in turn number 7 and through 7 over to 8, the most narrow part of the racetrack. And we had the big incident in USF 2000. We had to literally bring the cars to pit lane, go red, because we simply couldn't start the race because you couldn't get the tow trucks in there and have the cars still circulate.
That's exactly the issue. It's so tight, and with 4 cars that were tangled up together yesterday in USF 2000, the safest and smartest thing to do, stop the cars on pit road, get the trucks in there from steps towing and pull them out, and then get the opportunity to resume racing. 5 laps longer in today's race in Indy Pro 2000 than we had yesterday, so that will give us a little bit extra time, but now we're still going to have 20 laps of racing if we can go green quickly. Looks like they're just about nearing the end of that cleanup. 1 car to pull on out of there, and then hopefully they can duck inside quickly and we can get ourselves back to green flag racing.
We got a 40-minute time window, so we're going to be okay, which is great. We'll definitely get the full distance in, but again, we've only had a lap, maybe a half a lap of green flag racing. We really haven't been able to get at it yet. Simon, let's come back to you because you've raced here before, and what does it take to get a quick lap around this particular racetrack? I know that when you first get here, you know you're a foot and a half off the wall. And talking to some of the guys in the paddock area, you got to keep getting closer and closer. Hunter McElroy told me on his fast lap and qualified to put him on the pole, he literally coming through turn 13, chinked the right front tire, the wheel. He could hear that he hit the wall, couldn't feel it in the wheel. Do you have to get that close to the wall for a fast lap?
That's exactly what it is. If you want to maximize your time here, you have to run as close as you can. You have to use all the track available, and that's what's so difficult about the streets of St. Petersburg, is maximizing all the road and getting as close to those concrete walls as you can without damaging your car. And we've seen some people do that particularly well, specifically Christian Brooks yesterday. In his weekend sweep and dominant weekend here, he showed top form in being able to get really, really close to these walls without stepping over the line and getting into the concrete.
Let's go this right now because we know we're going to be going back to green pretty soon once they get the car of Prokachik out of the way. The restart here, obviously single file, right? A little different than the double file start. But let's talk about going down to the inside. One of the things, of course, our casual fans might not know, this is, of course, is a airport runway, Alfred Whitted runway. When you come down into turn number 1, drivers are going to be on the outside where the grip level is. You try to pass to the inside, it's dirty, there's the paint down there. How much grip do you lose, and how do you have to approach it? Do you have to brake significantly early if you're going down the inside?
Well, normally on road courses, you can get down to the inside and you expect there to be a little bit less grip, but it's still manageable. When you get to here, and you have to run down through these airport stripes and all these marbles that are offline, it's considerable. And you'll notice the car becoming increasingly upset as you try to get heavy on the brakes into turn 1. So drivers will have to manage that as they try to make moves on the inside into turn 1.
Simon Sykes joined myself and Todd Lewis here in the booth today. Again, banging out some yellow flag laps after an incident at the start of our second race of the Indy Pro 2000 Championship presented by Cooper Tires. Both Wyatt Prokachik and Kiffin Simpson involved. Not able to get any kind of replay on that one, so we can't give you kind of a synopsis of the incident. We know that 3 drivers in total were involved, as well as the driver James Rowe Jr., the Irishman, having trouble as well over in turn number 5, we believe, or between 5 and 6. All those drivers involved out of the race right now. They come back in on the hook. And watching the AMR safety truck roll back down the front straightaway, I think we're going to be one more lap, Todd, before we go back to it. The AMR safety team, the absolute best in the business, able to get this wreck cleared. But we're talking 3 cars, not a quick cleanup. We're going to end up with 6 laps under yellow.
And 2 different locations on the track, too, to get those cars cleaned up. Once we get back to green, let's go back to watching Braden Eves. As you mentioned, gained a couple of spots off the start, was able to move up to 4th. We'll see if he can continue to move his way forward in the remaining laps. Also interested to watch Christian Rasmussen, who moved from 4th up to 2nd and was really challenging Eves for the victory late yesterday. Is he going to be able to get around Hunter McElroy and maybe get away from the rest of the field a little bit?
I know it's early in the season right now. We don't want to talk about championship too much because, it's going to take care of itself throughout the season. But we are going to talk about the points just because of where they are. Braden Eves, of course, a big victory there. Wins are big points in the road to Indy. 20 on back, especially in USF 2000, obviously, with 26 cars, just 1 point. Right now, Braden Eves running in the 4th position. Hunter McElroy running P1. That would put them 2 points apart. 102 points for Braden Eves, 100 points for Hunter McElroy. Remember, he's coming off that victory round number 2 at Barber Motorsports Park. Had a solid run as well yesterday. So very tight up top. Braden Eves, though, in that Cambridge Global Payments machine for Exclusive Autosport, running up front. We will see the green flag next time by. We'll have 7 laps in the books. We'll have 18 remaining. Hopefully we can go green to checker from there. And again, it'll be McElroy getting ready to push off here as the leader in the number 18 machine. McElroy, so impressive for Pabst Racing. He likes this racetrack, Simon, and I think you could talk about this. When you like a racetrack, you have a tendency to be good there when you like it.
It's a level of comfort that you've become accustomed to, and you're able to push harder and harder and have that confidence in your abilities at certain places, as well as everywhere. But the particular track you're talking about, if it's one of your favorites, you're able to do so much more at that particular place.
It's all about developing that level of comfort. Look at Hunter McElroy. Got the car diamonded up in that corner, got on the throttle real early, and he'll have about a 2 or 3 car length lead coming across start-finish. That may not be enough here. He's going to run the inside of the racetrack, maybe the middle of the track, as Rasmussen thinking about that outside run again. Braden Eves comfortable in the position, too, as is Reese Gold, the 16-year-old, slotting the Hook Coast Racing number 55 into P3. Eves in 4th, Suleiman 5th, Ahmed up into the 6th position here now. And again, drivers getting through turn 1 cleanly. Again, the tightest part of the racetrack was turn number 7 and 8. That's where we saw the incident on the opening lap. We've got 7 in the books. Back to green flag racing here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Again, working that opening lap. We just want to get them through the opening laps. Things seems to kind of just work themselves out once you get that first circuit in. Drivers settling into the train. You kind of lined up with the battle that you're at. You're going to fight the guy in front of you, try to defend from the guy behind you. Everything kind of settles down. There's not as many openings, opportunities to make easy passes, and we talked about that, Todd, at the start of the race. There's no better time to make overtakes than that opening lap when drivers are side by side, whatever it may be, but that's when you also have the chaos.
And we go back to the beginning of this race, too, where we talked about drivers still going to be assessing and now understanding the difference in the feel of the track and how different their cars feel from when they were last out on track. And now you're seeing some of them start to look for opportunities.
Yeah, that's an Ahmed, the number 77, down to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to hold off Colin Kaminsky. Kaminsky around the outside, book it. He'll take the position. Move Kaminsky up into the 6th spot. Best we've seen Colin run thus far. Ahmed in the RP Motorsports machine going back to P7. Now he's got Jacob Abel behind him as well. That was a big defense move to the bottom for Ahmed. Probably didn't get quite enough of a run, Simon, coming out of turn number 14. And how crucial is that? If you're not able to get the car turned, if you got to be a little later on the throttle, you're going to pay the price at the end of the straightaway.
Turn 14 is one of the absolute keys to this track, especially in race conditions. If you can get out of there well, you're not going to have too much to worry about from behind. But if you make a little bit of slip up, you're not able to get to full throttle as soon as the guy behind you, you're going to be in trouble heading to turn 1, as it's our longest straight and our best passing opportunity.
It is such a long straightaway, as Simon noted, man, all the way down there. And the other thing, too, even if you defend, the driver's going to go on the outside. Yeah, look at the pass we saw. Ahmed went to the inside, Kaminsky to the outside, literally able to run the cushion on the outside really to get that spot. It's such a wide corner. When you defend, you lose that grip on the inside. You got to get on the brakes a bit earlier. And here comes a move for the inside. New leader, Christian Rasmussen to the inside. Can he hold it? He does. Book it. He's through. Rasmussen goes to P1. He led all of the race, green to checker at Barber Motorsports Park. Only the penalty after the spin and the block moved him back. Rasmussen, last year's USF 2000 champion. Todd now to the lead. Strong, aggressive move to the inside. We talked about this yesterday. We saw, and actually Simon and I talked about this coming over to the booth. We saw a lot of maybe half efforts to make passes, not the assertive, domination of the apex. That one, no question whatsoever, Rasmussen was leading coming out of that corner.
This was decisive. This was planned. He knew what he wanted to do and then executed going into corner number 1, slipping down the inside to take over from Hunter McElroy. But that's a pass that was set up much further back on the track as well, coming through 13 and 14. We talked about the importance of being able to set up through those two corners. That's what Christian Rasmussen was doing. He got close to the back of Hunter McElroy and then completed the pass coming through corner number 1.
Have a look here right now at the run down the straightaway, as Braden Eves has got Manuel Suleiman right behind him as well. In fact, Eves is going to tuck to the inside because Suleiman's getting aggressive. Braden with a defensive move down to the inside to make sure Suleiman wasn't able to go by. Eves running in the 4th spot. 5th is Suleiman, 6th is Kaminsky. As they run on the racetrack, remember, McElroy closed to within 2 points because he was leading, falling back. He's now dropped to 8 points behind Braden Eves, who currently runs in that 4th position. Of course, the bigger gaps up top in terms of the points, it gets a little bit closer in terms of how many points you gain or lose further down the order. Right now, though, the fight kind of stacking up behind Braden Eves has been Manuel Suleiman, Colin Kaminsky, Anam Ahmed, and Jacob Abel right there as well. Working lap number 10 of 25 for Indy Pro 2000. 4 green flag laps in the books after we had an issue with Wyatt Prakacic, James Rowe, and Kiffin Simpson on the opening circuit, turn number 8. Drivers settling in, and right now a 0.6 of a second lead for Christian Rasmussen. Let's go back to Simon Sykes, because here's the thing. When Rasmussen's right behind him, he's doing whatever he can, but he's dealing with that air wash, right? You don't have all that fresh, clean air rolling over the front wing. More aerodynamics in these cars than yours in USF 2000. Now he's out front, all that clean air coming over the wing. He's going to have a car that he's really going to like.
And we'll see a wave of confidence come his way as he starts to break away from the field, running the fastest lap time we've seen so far. That clean air is massive for being able to make the most of your car without having to deal with that induced understeer from the air wash.
It was kind of an easy weekend last year coming to the finale here to the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg for Christian Rasmussen. No real sense of urgency. He had already clinched the championship at New Jersey Motorsports Park. He knew he had the scholarship to move to Indy Pro 2000 next year, so he wasn't the dominant driver. We saw Kiko Porto, Christian Brooks gets the race wins. Christian was still strong, was there, but he was kind of out for a joyride, man. I'm not going to wreck a race car, not going to cause any more money. I've already won a championship. Heck, he could have sat out the weekend if he wanted to, but here he is here showing why he was the champion last year. There are a bunch of great fans back in Denmark watching this kid from Copenhagen.
And the experience that you'll gain with more track time. That's what racers are always looking for, to gain as much track time as possible. Sure, you're not going to take any unnecessary chances and put yourself in peril or your team in peril, as we see Hunter McElroy under attack now from Reese Gold in the 55 car, showing himself going into corner number 1.
We talk about this track being really good for sophomore drivers. Both McElroy and Eves, of course, raced here. McElroy raced here last year. Eves did not after the incident at Indy. What's with these rookies stepping up right now? Rasmussen, the rookie at Indy Pro 2000. Gold going after McElroy here as well. Reese Gold, just 16 years of age, started in USF 2000 2 years ago with Cape Motorsports at the tender age of 14. We watched him probably sprout up about 4 inches, I think. Put on a bunch of weight, but in the gym as well. Trying to get himself more physically fit, stronger to run these Indy Pro 2000 cars. Probably the most physical of the 3 cars we have on the road to Indy, I think. Simon, and you probably heard that as well. I talked to Parker Thompson. He says the steering rack on the Indy Lights car, a little bit easier to drive. It's these cars which are the toughest.
Talking to these Pro 2000 drivers, it's a massive step up from USF in terms of the physicality. So someone like Reese Gold has spent hours and hours of dedication getting ready to run these cars, and it's paying off, as we can see here. An absolutely impressive young driver who's making the most of his Pro 2000 debut.
So Hunter McElroy, I don't know that he and Braden Eves are really super close as friends, because they battled it out, of course, in USF 2000 a couple years ago, just competitors. But right now, I got to think that McElroy may be pretty happy with Eves, because Eves is putting the pressure now on, I believe, did he just slide by? That might have been Eves by in turn number 4. Let's have a look. No, not quite. So Eves putting the pressure on Grease Gold now. That's kind of given a bit of a reprieve for McElroy, not getting so much aggressive pressure from behind.
Yes, he'll have to play a little bit of defense as opposed to offense, and that's what you want to do. Is if you're out in front, as Christian Rasmussen is as well, you want those guys behind you feeling the heat from behind. You don't want them focusing on you out front. Look at him stretch that lead out to 2 seconds now, just over 2 seconds over Hunter McElroy, because McElroy is feeling it a little bit from Reese Gold, and Reese Gold is feeling it from Braden Eves as well.
One of the great things about the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg is the fact that everybody that comes in here, it's a level playing field. You can't test here. Everybody rolls in. You have 5 sessions. That is it. Barber Motorsports Park different. A lot of testing. Simon, I want to come to you because you didn't get a chance, I know, to be able to race here this weekend, but you did get some laps on the racetrack over at Symmetric. We have a Symmetric Driver Labs, Performance Driver Labs. We have a sim. Our partner, Greg DeGeorge, is here trackside. A lot of guys were in his simulator all weekend, running the track here at St. Petersburg on the simulator. Did you get some time to at least get behind the wheel of the simulator?
I did, and I had a great time over there. With a track like St. Petersburg, the only available track time you have before your singular practice session is if you want to take advantage of a simulator. Whereas in the past, we've had spring training at Homestead. This year, it was at Barber Motorsports Park where we started the season. So we saw a lot of guys put in a lot of test time getting ready for that opening round.
Yeah, and again, Simon saying this is a tough place. And, of course, Greg DeGeorge from Symmetric Performance Driver Labs, that on-site simulator in the trailer he brings from race to race. A lot of guys are signed up for the year where you get the 5 sessions like Simon talked about. He provides an opportunity for a lot more track time, which I think is super key for especially some of the younger drivers, guys like Simon who haven't had a lot of seat time. Here's a big move to the bottom. Hunter McElroy trying to hold off Reese Gold. Gold around the outside. Can he hang it? He does not. McElroy on full defense mode right now. Braden Eves right there. Manuel Suleiman coming up. Colin Kaminsky trying to join the party as well. But Hunter McElroy, folks, this is damage control 100%. He's trying to hold on. Here goes Eves, thinking about the inside as well. But I'll tell you, Todd, young Reese Gold, 16 years of age, he's throwing everything but the kitchen sink right now at McElroy.
And Braden Eves is there as well, both trying to capitalize and maybe get around Hunter McElroy right now. And Christian Rasmussen is loving it. He's legged out his lead to almost 3 seconds right now. But it is a fight between second, third, and fourth for those final couple of positions up on the podium. Hunter McElroy, Reese Gold, Braden Eves, and Manuel Suleiman round out the top 5. And 2, 3, 4, and 5. Even Suleiman is in the fight just 3/10 back of Braden Eves.
This is a great race right now. Coming into turn number 13 and 4. Wow, look at the lead right now for Rasmussen. Visually, you can see how far ahead he is. And McElroy, again, full defense. He'll start to let that car drift a bit to the inside of the racetrack. Right now, Gold not close enough. Suleiman peeking into the mirror. And I love this shot. And here's a move coming to the inside. That is going to be Artem Petrov to the inside of Jack William Miller. That's for, I believe, P number 9. Petrov making the move to the bottom. Book it. Great pass for the Russian driver from St. Petersburg, Florida. Simon, we saw that great shot directly coming at us into turn number 1. And you'll see drivers start to just a little peak move to the right. Is that simply trying to put your car, your colors in the mirror, the right side mirror of the driver in front of you?
Absolutely. There are a lot of mind games that go on in this series. And if you can get inside your opponent's head, you can start to force an error out of them. But also, if you have a good enough look, you might go for that move. You might try and capitalize in the instant. but it's definitely setting up for the future.
Is it also a possibility of, depending on how close you get to the corner, trying to get a little more air over the front wing again to get that front grip?
Absolutely, and we'll see that in other parts of the track as well. It's tougher here at St. Petersburg, but if you can do anything you can to get out of the air wash of the car in front of you, it helps. It preserves your front tires, and it makes you be able to turn better and catch them at a greater rate.
And I like that line, conserving your front tires. Aero wash, of course, gives these drivers a lot of mid-corner understeer. I mean, the car doesn't want to turn. It wants to push through the corner. The more that car's pushing, sliding the tires, the more it punishes the tire itself. So you have to be smart. Getting a little bit more air over the front wing is going to give you more positive grip on the front. And really, you don't have to put so much wheel into it where you're trying to get the car to get to the corner. You're always waiting for that tire to really give the grip it needs to turn. And that is not good on tires. And indeed, at the end of this weekend, Todd, you and I have talked about it all weekend long. Only 3 sets of tires for 5 sessions. These drivers kind of rolling the dice in qualifying, maybe going to 2 sets of stickers to try to get themselves better qualifying runs. In this last race, a lot of these guys are on tires that they probably qualified on and maybe put 10 laps on already. Come to the end of this race, as we now have just 8 laps to go, these tires are starting to fall off a little bit.
And that's what drivers will be doing now, is assessing what they've got. Is we have a car slowing down on the backside part of the course.
Jack William Miller's lost the rear wing, potentially slide. Now, I was going to say, full course yellow, that rear wing is going to be somewhere on the racetrack. I want to say potentially coming through turn number 10. He might have slid it sideways. There it is. So probably got the car. Maybe a little bit of exit oversteer. Car got sideways potentially. Simon, is that? We're going to see a replay, hopefully, but that's probably what happened to the 40.
It definitely could have been what happened. It's so easy to do in that area. As you come off, you're riding the bumps a little bit out to that concrete wall, and if you get just a little bit of oversteer, it happened to me last year, you can catch that outside wall, and it'll kick the rear of your car, and you as you see, Jack William Miller's coming to the pits now with severe damage to his right rear corner.
Yeah, that's not just the rear wing, guys. He actually tagged the right rear. So Jack William Miller in the middle of an Atari Motorsports machine going to try to limp his way up to his pit spot. Significant damage on the right rear as the tire from the front to back is skewed. And again, if we do get a chance to see a replay of that incident over in turn number 10, it's going to be significant impact. And you got to think just a little wide on the corner. Might not just have been exit oversteer. He might have really kind of missed that corner and not been able to turn it. Here is the replay right now of Jack William Miller. There's Artem Petrov rolling through. Yeah, mid-corner oversteer, trying to catch it, and boom. You know what? Had that tire not been there, he might have been okay. But again, those tires are there for a reason, because you don't want to nose into the barrier there right now. But Simon, let's talk to you again. Again, Simon Sykes from Legacy Autosport and Maradi Autosport joining us in the booth today with myself and Todd Lewis. How easy is that to do, trying to carry speed through that corner?
Absolutely. It is so easy. And he might have caught the curb on the inside, and that curb is so abrasive that if you touch that at all, it's going to upset the car, and you'll get into a situation as we just saw with Jack Miller. But I can say that Christian Rasmussen, absolutely not what he wanted to see here.
No. We had 7 laps remaining. The guy's out there with this massive lead, 4.5 seconds. He's like, I'm cruising to my race win. It's going to be a party tonight for Jay Howard Driver Development. Well, press the reset button, folks, because by the time we get back around here, now I would have bet we're probably going to go green next time by. No cleanup. All they did was make sure the tires are okay, pick up that rear wing, make sure there's no more debris in that particular part of the corner, because that's track out from the corner. You don't want anybody to get a tire puncture. But again, that big lead gone. Now my question to this, Simon, you've watched this, you're a racer. Based on what I saw from Hunter McElroy having to defend from Reese Gold, I want to say that's potentially more of the issue right now than Rasmussen. I don't know that McElroy's got what it takes right now to challenge Rasmussen.
If Rasmussen can get out to a clear start, he should be in the green again to go out and run down for this win in the second Pro 2000 race of the weekend. McElroy is absolutely going to be under pressure. It may have alleviated it for a few laps, but he was under heavy pressure before. He's going to be under heavy pressure when we go green again.
Indeed. Rasmussen, your leader. McElroy second in the 18. Reese Gold, the 16-year-old driver from Miami Ford in the 55 for Juncos Racing in third. Braden Eves, point leader in the number 91 for Exclusive Autosport in fourth. Manuel Suleiman, the other Juncos driver in the number 22, runs fifth. Colin Kaminsky for Pabst Racing in sixth. Inam Ahmed for RP Motorsport, the Englishman in the number 77 in that 7th spot. Jacob Abel runs in 8th. Artem Petrov from 14th up to 9th. Good spot, a run there for Artem Petrov to make sure he's still close to the championship battle. Cameron Shields, who had a rough day yesterday, a mechanical issue at the very start of the race. He is now running in the 10th position. Hunter Yeaney and Flynn Lazier, remaining 12 drivers on the racetrack. We will go green this time by. They'll put lap number 19 in the books. We'll have 5 more remaining. And Christian Rasmussen looking to grab his first Indy Pro 2000 win after stacking up almost record number of race wins in USF 2000 last year. Oh, nice start. Big punch off coming out of turn 14. Rasmussen holding about 6 car lengths as they come across the line. Right down to the bottom of the racetrack goes McElray. Gold to the outside. Hold your breath. Coming through turn number 1. McElray to the bottom. And it's Eves side by side with Suleiman as well. The Hook Coast Racing drivers going at it. Suleiman goes to P4. So trouble there for Eves. He goes back a spot, but we're not done. And now Ahmed getting ready to close up on Braden Eves as well. Turn 4. How about 3 wide down into the braking zone? Deep move to the bottom. And they'll try to work their way through. Braden Eves going back a couple of spots here. Jacob Abel fighting as well, trying to get by Anam Ahmed. What a crazy restart here now. They'll come through turn number 8 and 9, finally getting back to single file. No, good move to the inside. Jacob Abel, Simon, aggressive coming through 8. He gets the spot done in turn number 9.
Not a move you see very often here. That's a really, really tough spot to get it done, but it was absolutely clean and well executed by Jacob Abel.
You got to think that Anam might have been running to the inside a little bit, lost a little bit of the exit route, and over-under for Jacob Abel. I think that's a move for potentially P7. So a good run for Jacob. I know he was very happy with the way the car developed an issue yesterday. And here is your lead again. That was a shakeup for sure, moving Braden Eves quite a ways back. We'll reset the full field for you when they come back around here. It'll be 5 laps to go. Rasmussen lead. McElray able to hold on to the spot. There's Hunter Yeaney trying to hold off the 42 of Artem Petrov. Petrov's going to roll around the outside, side by side. Petrov trying to beat him over to turn number 2. Oh, they're still side by side. Not quite. Hunter Yeaney in the Velocity Racing Development Machine trying to hold off Artem Petrov. Petrov to the outside as well. That is the fight here now for 9th and 10th as Yeaney very aggressive on the opening lap. But here's your full field as they come through turn number 8 and 9. Rasmussen with the lead. McElray 2nd. Gold 3rd. Suleiman 4th. Kaminsky 5th. Braden Eves falling down to 6th position. A lot of ramifications in the championship there. 7th is Jacob Abel. 8th is Anam Ahmed. 9th, Hunter Yeaney. 10th, Artem Petrov. 11th, Cameron Shields. And Flynn Lazier running in 12th. We're not done with that fight, though, Simon, between Yeaney and Petrov. Because I think Petrov probably a bit, maybe a little annoyed with the block there from Hunter Yeaney.
It's hard racing right now, and as we see, they still continue to fight coming off turn 14. It looks like Petrov looking to make a move around Yeaney. He goes to the outside, and we'll see what happens in turn 1.
Manuel Suleiman trying to make a move down the inside, and his teammate almost left or right rear to right front wing. That could have been ugly. And again, this time Petrov finally through. Petrov getting by Yeaney to move to P number 9. And look at the defense up here. Hunter McElray has got the elbows up. And with laps winding down, it'll be 3 to go next time by. Doing everything he can to hold off Reese Gold. My thought right now is what is going through the mind, Simon, of Manuel Suleiman. He sees this happening in front of him. He's trying to capitalize. Gold's getting aggressive, but he needs to get by his teammate.
He's asking himself how he can take advantage of this situation. Obviously, he doesn't want to get into a wreck involving his teammate, but the 2 guys in front of him are holding him up. He's got a fast car, as he's proven, and it looks like McElray has been struggling. Maybe he's not entirely happy with what he's got this race. And so as McElray tries to fend off for his life these 2 guys behind him, the 2 teammates are in continuous attack.
That's it. And as they run on the racetrack right now, top 3 in points will be separated by just 5 markers. Braden Eves will still have the point lead. Look at this. Everybody down to the bottom. Here they all to the outside. And McElray coming back a little bit. Suleiman tried the outside now. Manuel Suleiman are outside of his teammate. Book it. Move Manuel Suleiman, the Mexican driver, working his way now into P3. Suleiman now to 3rd. He'll go to work now on McElray. Suleiman actually trying to defend from his teammate now. Eves going to go to the inside. That could be contact with he and Ahmed. No! That looked, Todd, how shallow was the entry for Braden Eves? If it wasn't Braden behind the wheel there, and knowing his skill set and his championship in USF 2000, I would have been sure that was contact on the exit.
Absolutely jumped on the brakes to prevent any sort of contact and keep that car rolling forward. But the fight is not over for second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth right now. Hunter McElroy on that front straightaway came, well, let's just say close to making a defensive maneuver to the challenge from behind from Reese Gold and Manuel Suleiman. He did make the initial move down to the inside and then slowly started the drift back across the track. It's not reacting to the driver behind you. That is the key point in becoming a defensive or a blocking maneuver.
We'll see what happens there. I did say that it was Eves trying to get by Anam Ahmed. It was actually Eves trying to get by Colin Kaminsky. This is the battle with Ahmed as he's fighting it out wheel to wheel right now with Jacob Abel. And then that was an aggressive move. Simon, talk about that. I know we got time running down. Let's see if we can find it here at turn number 4. Jacob Abel went down the inside to take the spot and literally drove Anam right out of the racing line. Own the apex, own the exit.
It's so easy to hold the outside in turn 1, so unless you're doing something like that and running the driver you're trying to pass wide, it becomes tough to hold it through turn 2. As well as it being slick down and one on the inside, Abel with a great move to slide past.
Coming out of turn number 9, you go over the crest of the road there, and you can see Anam Ahmed start to lose the end. We've seen a lot of drivers do that coming out, trying to get power down. You'll get exit oversteer. The rear end wants to kick out. We've seen guys hit the wall there before. Laps winding down. White flag flying this time by for Christian Rasmussen. Does he get his first win in Indy Pro 2000? From what we're seeing here, long gone, 5.2 seconds. Macker right now having to hold off Suleiman. Big move back to the outside for Manuel. The run down into turn number 1. Suleiman around the outside, book it. He'll take the spot. To the inside comes Braden Eves trying to get by Colin Kaminsky. Suleiman now to second. Move McElroy back to P3. Reese Gold couldn't get it done for Juncos. Suleiman able to get through. He gets it done here. And again, Gold trying the outside now. Crazy racing coming through. Reese Gold throwing everything at Hunter McElroy for the final position in the top 3 there. Right now, McElroy in third, Suleiman second, but the driver coming through here, the number 1 of Rasmussen. That was Suleiman out of turn number 9. Onto the back straightaway here now to get up to turn number 10. 7 seconds the advantage last time by. Folks, last year we saw Christian Rasmussen flat dominate in USF 2000. A little blip in the middle of the season, but he now finds himself as a race winner in Indy Pro 2000. The Danish driver Christian Rasmussen, victorious on the streets of St. Petersburg. Big gap back to the driver coming home in second. An epic battle for the final run on the podium. It is Manuel Suleiman coming home in the second spot. Reese Gold able to get by Hunter McElroy on the final circuit. So second and third for Juncos Racing. They're able to go and finish off the podium. McElroy did everything he could. As Simon said, that car was not great at the end. McElroy coming home in the 4th spot. His teammate Colin Kaminsky, really solid move forward. Colin Kaminsky started back in the 7th position, fell back to 9th, scrapped his way back up to 5th. Braden Eves into 6th position. How about now the championship 4 points? 98 points for Braden Eves, 94 points for Christian Rasmussen. What a battle. Simon, thank you so much for joining us up here. Great insight. We'll have you back soon for sure.
Thanks for having me.
Great guy. Hey, Todd, a lot of insight here from this guy here at USF 2000, folks. Follow Simon Sykes on social media. He'll be running at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for Legacy Autosport and Maradi Autosport. Thanks again to him. What a race, Todd.
Oh, right down to the final lap and the final few feet as Reese Gold is able to slip around Hunter McElroy and claim that final spot on the podium. We saw McElroy from that second restart after the caution period playing on the defensive, trying to find some space, trying to find a way to stay out in front, but it wound up slipping his way all the way off the podium.
Time to head down to Tatis Victory Lane. 3 drivers are going to be very happy. One of them, Christian Rasmussen.
Our thanks to Rob Howden. He'll be back a little bit later on this morning. To Simon Sykes as well for a great job with the insight on this race today. Here's your finishing order. Christian Rasmussen took over the lead from Hunter McElroy, who started on pole and then really skated away. Even a couple of caution periods slowing the field and bunching them up together wasn't enough for Christian Rasmussen to slow him down or have a real challenge from behind. Although if we'd gone a few laps longer, perhaps Manuel Suleiman might have had something for him. He took over from Hunter McElroy in the closing stages and moved up to the second position. And then his teammate at Juncos Racing, Reese Gold, dashing to the checkered flag, coming through turns 13 and 14, is able to use the draft, get down underneath Hunter McElroy, and just get the nose of his car ahead of him to claim that final podium spot. Hunter McElroy, Colin Kaminsky rounding out the top fives. Braden Eve started 6th, moved up as high as 4th, but then slid back at the end. And there is your winner, Christian Rasmussen, who thought he may have scored his first victory of the series and of the season a week ago at Barber Motorsports Park, but this one will count in dominating fashion. He finishes nearly 8 seconds ahead of the runner-up Manuel Suleiman, who was able to claim a podium spot along with his teammate Reese Gold. This just the start of our racing action here today at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Thank you for joining us again. Welcome to the grounds here at the Firestone Grand Prix. We appreciate your help and cooperation coming through the gates with the social media, social protocols and COVID-19 protocols, having those temperature checks. Reminders again, please maintain your grandstand seat when seated in the grandstand. They've been assigned to help promote social distancing. Keep that distance as best you can, 6 to 8 feet away from those around you. And at all times, please, face coverings, face masks on, whether you're seated in the grandstand or whether you are wandering around the festival grounds. So much to see and do here this weekend. Lots of food choices, great opportunities for merch as well, and those selfies in front of the Firestone wall, that is the best way to get them done. In front of the Firestone tire wall, tag Firestone Racing and at GP St. Pete and use the hashtag Firestone GP. If you haven't had a chance yet to wander around and check out the souvenirs and merchandise in Gasoline Alley, hats, shirts, lanyards, something for everyone there. And you can also get a free digital Firestone Grand Prix program to get your hands on an event map, to find your way around the grounds, to check out the schedules, entry lists, up-to-date results, and much more. It's program.gpstpete.com. Coming up, it's the NTT IndyCar Series on track just after the top of the hour for their warm-up of 30 minutes. It is always an exciting session to see that morning warm-up for the NTT IndyCar Series. It's Colton Herta who will start on the pole for the race a little bit later on today. Jack Harvey alongside on the front row. Two-time defending champion Joseph Newgarden will roll off third, and Simon Pagenaud, his teammate, in an all-Penske row number 4. Sebastian Bourdais will roll 5th. Indy Lights racing coming up a little bit later on this morning. Their second of 2 races on the weekend. That's at 10 a.m. The Stadium Super Trucks will be here for race number 2 as well. It was series favorite Sheldon Creed who scored the victory over Matty Brabham and Ari Lyondike Jr. yesterday. And then our pre-race ceremonies for the NTT IndyCar Series race begin at noon. The green flag set to go at about 12:40. Sun trying to peek through here on the grounds. It's going to be a terrific day. We're so glad that you've joined us. Make sure you're tagging us on your social media posts at Firestone Racing, at GP St. Pete. Douglas Elliman is proud to be supporting partner of the 2021 Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Just like a trusty pit crew keeping the driver on track through the race, Douglas Elliman agents have the experience and expertise to guide you on your real estate journey. Whether you're selling property, looking for a new home in the St. Petersburg area, Aspen, Connecticut, or any of the other luxury markets we serve, Douglas Elliman will get you over the finish line. Visit us at our local office.
At TopCon, we know a thing or two about a smooth surface. Roads and highways, piece of cake. Airports, let's just say it'll be the smoothest landing you've ever had. But what about when you want to go fast? Real fast? No, faster. We've helped cars go faster than they've ever gone before. Broken a few lap records along the way. Want the best paving performance? Go to the source. TopCon, always one step ahead.
Hey, your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie, my niece, your cousin, and Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, and then the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers, and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Go to sleep. I love you.
Go with the Coopers. Cooper.
karting and motorsport enthusiasts. Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day...
P3 pushed hard to try to get to second, but ends up in the third spot. Good drive here from deeper in the field. Fought his way by his teammate, was able to get into second as well. Coming home as the runner-up in Indy Pro 2000 for Juncos Racing, Manuel Suleiman. So Juncos Racing putting 2 drivers on the podium. Long-time front runners, multi-time champion in the series, Juncos Racing. Let's talk about this team here, though, folks. Their first year here in the Indy Pro 2000 category. They won the Drivers' Championship last year in USF 2000 with the driver I'm about to introduce. He was USF 2000 title winner last year, a race winner here, his first Indy Pro win. Put your hands together for Christian Rasmussen. Jay Howard Driver Development, their first year in Indy Pro, and they get the driver on the box. Almost a win for Christian at Barber Motorsports Park. He left no doubt that he was the driver to beat here today, able to get out front and stretch away. Qualified on the outside of the front row, quickly took the lead, and was not to be challenged for the remainder of that 25-lap contest. An early yellow flag, but then a straight run through to a great battle at the end. Christian Rasmussen, what a way to get things fired up. 3 different winners so far this year. Champagne flying. Where you going, Reese? Be part of the party. Well, here comes Reese in late. Now grab that bottle, Reese, and go after him. You are armed, they are not. Shake and spray, boy. Folks, that wraps things up for Indy Pro 2000. One more Road to Indy race still to come here today. Our Indy Lights drivers will take to the racetrack. What a great race yesterday. Florida driver Kyle Kirkwood scoring the win. We'll see if he's able to double it up and do back-to-back jacks here at St. Petersburg, or if another driver can rise to the front to cap off this edition of the Road to Indy here in Florida. Lots to come, lots of racing.
Good morning, race fans. Welcome to Road to Indy TV Live. I'm your host, Parker Thompson, and I am here with pole sitter, Indy Lights Race 2, David Malukas. David, yesterday, race 1. I want to talk about that a little bit. The Andretti's. Let's talk about, you started second, correct?
Yes.
You settled into the race, and then Andretti's just kept coming everywhere.
Yeah, it was like just a bunch of bulls behind me. I come in and I mean on the start, you know, Kirkwood, he got a good run, and then he's, you know, set up wide for turn 1. I was like, oh, you know, I might make a move here.
Right.
And as soon as I did that, I just see a fluorescent yellow car come from behind me. I'm like, oh my God. So then I had to, you know, kind of do a bit of a backup, and then going into 2, it seemed like it was going to be a repeat with Askew and VK when they had that big incident. So I was like, I'm going to have to push back here and, you know, just give up the position. And then from there, it was kind of just a pinball effect. I mean, we did have the pace, and we were going to make a move on DiFrancesco. Then I made a mistake going into the last corner and locked up both of the fronts. And you just see this huge flat spot for the rest of the race.
So I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I had a huge flat spot, and then that's how Frost got around me, because, I mean, as soon as you go off the line, I mean, it was just like ice. And so he ended up getting a really good run, got past me. And then the rest of the race, I was, like, biased full to the rear and just throttling. Like, if you look at my brake shape, it's just like a really lame, just like little, that's it.
Well, that's some great insight. So for everybody at home, brake shapes are generally they're almost like a 90-degree triangle, because you have a peak right up on the data of where you hit to maximum pressure, and then you trail off right away. So obviously, if the brakes aren't working, you can usually tell pretty quick for a driver, because you don't have that initial peak. It's more of what you'd call a molehill brake, and that's what you faced for the whole race yesterday. So then third, then, I didn't know that. Third was probably pretty good.
I mean, yeah, with what we had, I was, like, really ecstatic. I was like, wow, okay, that's a good save there, and really good points. And now we're still P2, but, like, I mean, only like 7 points behind for the lead on the championship. But, I mean, Kirkwood's right behind. So, I mean, it's tight, but I feel like it's going to be like this all season.
It is. So before we get into race 2, let's talk a little bit about Linus now. So we saw him at Barber Motorsports Park, which is a track that he knew. He comes into the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. You're sitting in the engineer room with him. What's he going? Is he wide-eyed and bushy-tailed going, wow, walls everywhere? What's going on?
Yeah, well, I mean, I asked him, and he's done some street racing in the past in Europe, but he said it's nothing like here. It's obviously a new track for him, And I think, within that first practice session, I think he's learned, quite a bit. It just, I think it was just a little bit, just wasn't enough time, and when quali happened, he, didn't still have, the pace that he should have. But no, I mean, good to him and Ben, because both of them have never been here, let alone, I don't think Ben's ever been into a street course, at least not. So, I mean, yeah, it's very, very tough. I mean, I remember my first time coming to St. Pete, for you to be quick, I mean, you got to be right next to the wall. And I remember racing with you in Indy Pro, and me being, I was like a little kid at the time, and then I remember you passed me, and I'm just like, okay, I got to follow Parker now. He's really quick, so I just follow you going through 10, and I remember you were like this close to the wall, and I was like, that's okay. I don't want to be fast yet. So and you were just everywhere, just like right next to the wall. So, but yeah, I mean, towards like quali 2, when quali 2 happened, I mean, I was getting really like on the walls, and I mean, we still weren't, it was still very, very tight on the times. I'm like, okay, wow, everybody's pushing. And actually, like, Linus and Ben actually tapped the wall, so.
Well, and that's what's interesting. I have to say, normally you see more of a spread on a field. In all 3 rungs of the road to Indy, there has been not much spread at the front. I mean.
Yeah, no, it's been tight.
Yeah, super tight. So that plays into it too, right? I mean, you overstep, you lose a couple tenths, and all of a sudden you're not starting 2nd or 3rd, you're starting 5th or 6th. But David Malukas did not have that problem. He went out and stuck it on pole with a new track record. What did that feel like?
That felt amazing, especially because my radio, we were having radio issues, and they're saying, David, you're P1 by 2/10. But what I heard is I'm P10 by 2/10. So I'm like 2/10 off on P10. And every lap he was saying that. Anytime I pass start finish line, all right, P10, 2/10 off. And I'm like, man, I'm pushing so hard. I'm like, how am I just every lap just, still 2/10, still 2/10. New fast lap, still 2/10. So I was like, man, what? I'm pushing so hard and I can't get it. And so then, the race was over. And I'm like, the session was over at least. And I come in, I'm like, oh, man. And then I heard I'm P4. And I was like, oh, okay, P4 is not bad. And then I come in and they're like, and then AJ comes in nice and clear, my, team manager, he just goes, yeah, you're P1. And I was like, oh, okay, that felt amazing. So that was like a 100% like just complete switch around with my mood there.
That is so funny because I've talked with a couple drivers. I've had that happen a few times where I've lost radio and then I get a surprise, a good surprise. I've also had it the other way too, where you get a bad surprise. But that's so funny that so, ladies and gentlemen, we now know how to break a track record. I'm going to tell my team in Porsche Carrera Cup to just keep telling me I'm P10 by 2/10, and hopefully I go break a track record next week.
I mean, I was pushing like crazy. I was on the curbs next to the walls. I was like, ugh. Then I mean, I got the lap time. So
perfect. Well, that's how you do it, David. We really look forward to going out and watching you in race 2. Starting from the pole, it's going to be good. But first and next, we have Christian Rasmussen coming up, winner of Indy Pro Race 2.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.
And motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
we know a thing or two about a smooth surface. Roads and highways, piece of cake. Airports, let's just say it'll be the smoothest landing you've ever had. But what about when you want to go fast? Real fast? No, faster. We've helped cars go faster than they've ever gone before. Broken a few lap records along the way. Want the best paving performance? Go to the source. Topcon, always one step ahead.
Hey, your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie, my niece, your cousin, and Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, and then the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers, and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Go to sleep. I love you.
Go with the Coopers. Cooper.
Welcome to Road to Indy TV Live. I'm your host, Parker Thompson, and I am here with the man of race 2 in Indy Pro 2000, Christian Rasmussen. Christian, what a race, and what a statement.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't seen a lead like that for a long time in Indy Pro 2000. So take me through, number one, the pass and starting second, and then we'll get into saving tires and just driving off into the sunset.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't get on this very first start, I didn't get away like really, really good, but I got away all right, got into second, and just kind of started chasing Hunter down. Set up a pass, got a good run out of turn 14, the last corner, out on the front straight. And then, did kind of a late dive bomb move to the inside into one, and that was really it. From there on out, I knew he didn't, well, I could see that he didn't have the pace to keep up, so I just kept going, and built the lead from there.
So difficult to pass here into turn one. You're coming down a runway, you've got paint all over it, you've got track that you haven't used before.
Yeah.
Judging that brake zone, what did you use to judge it to get it slowed down? We've seen so many mistakes, even the Lights guys. I mean, really, to make a pass on the inside of one is quite a low percentage move. Most of the guys are pulling them down to the inside and going around the outside.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. He didn't, I mean, I got a run on him, and I got pretty close towards the end, and he didn't even go to the inside to defend. So I was like, I mean, you got to take that, right?
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, and you say judging the braking zone, just got to brake later than the other guy.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's really it. That's what I did, and got by him into turn one and drove off.
No, it was picture perfect. And it's so tough, too, because if you don't complete the pass, right, if you just get beside him, he can hold that outside and get the inside to turn two. So the fact that you were able to clear him into one and then not go too wide so that he could undercut or get any type of run, I mean, it was pretty well game over after that. So you get the pass completed. Did you know you were going to pull away that quick?
No, I didn't. But I could see him also. He was starting to struggle a bit with some other cars from behind. So that was definitely my opportunity to get away. And once you have those 3 first laps that's good, and you start to pull away, it's much easier to pull like a further gap. So that's what I did.
Perfect. And obviously the other racers didn't make your life easy, because then we go full course yellow with about 6 laps to go there. What's going through your mind on full course yellow? Are you talking with the team? Are they relaying information to how much quicker you are? Or are you just saying, be quiet, I got this?
I mean, they were talking and talking and talking, but I was like, I mean, you just, at the end of the day, you just got to do what you got to do, and obviously kept my tires warm, so I was ready for the restart. And from there on out, I had a plan on where I wanted to go, and stuck to that plan. Got a good run in, got good run out of 14. Yeah. And then he couldn't get me down the straight, and I knew I was faster, so it was just,
easy peasy.
Same as before.
So were you saving those Cooper tires at all, or were you trying to make a statement?
No, I was definitely, once I pulled that first initial gap, I was definitely, slowing down a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't want the same mistake as I did in Barber. So I kind of got redemption from that, and even though I started to calm down a little. Even though I did the fastest lap on the last lap.
I
so.
saw that, and that's why I asked.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't look like you were saving any Cooper tires out there.
No.
So let's talk about how good it feels for the redemption. It's not just your first win in Indy Pro 2000, but it is, you know, you dominated race 2 in Barber.
Yeah.
You had a giant lead. When I say I haven't seen that big of a lead, the last time I saw that big of a lead, it was you at Barber Motorsports Park. So talk to me through the emotion of giving it back to the team, right? I've been there where I've trucked away a win here, actually, at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, and it feels terrible when you know you had it and then you lose it.
Yeah.
But to go back the very next race and get it back for them, what is that emotion like?
It's amazing. Like, I've never been that upset about a second place.
Oh, I know exactly the feeling.
Barber.
Yes.
Like, I mean, a second place isn't a bad finish. Like, it's great points for the championship and all that, but getting it, I mean, yourself fucking it up like that is kind of hard to swallow. So it was great to get redemption this weekend, as dominant as we were. So hopefully we can build on that momentum for the rest of the season and hopefully score some more wins.
So let's talk about the rest of the season here as we wrap up.
Yeah.
Obviously, coming in here, you're the scholarship driver.
Yeah.
You won in USF 2000. The goal is to win the championship?
For sure.
Okay. How do you see that? You're 4 points behind the lead now. I don't know if you knew that.
No.
How do you map out the rest of your championship run?
I mean, like I've done so far.
Okay.
Win the most races possible, get the most points. I think I've definitely matured a little bit from last year. I had that dip down in the middle of the season, which was mostly my own fault. So I think I've learned from that, matured and gotten better. So hopefully we can just continue to build on this and be as good for the rest of the season.
Well, my only hope, and it's probably much of the hope of the Road to Indy TV fans, you're one of the most exciting drivers to watch, so don't get rid of that aggression for us. We need it for the broadcast for Road to Indy TV Live. Coming up next, we've got Indy Lights Race 2. If you're an American viewer, you can watch that on Peacock TV. If you're Canadian, you can switch over to Rev TV. And if you're international, you can stay right here on Road to Indy TV Live.
TopCon. We know a thing or two about a smooth surface. Roads and highways, piece of cake. Airports, let's just say it'll be the smoothest landing you've ever had. But what about when you want to go fast? Real fast? No, faster. We've helped cars go faster than they've ever gone before. Broken a few lap records along the way. Want the best paving performance? Go to the source. TopCon, always one step ahead.
Hey, your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie, my niece, your cousin, and Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, and then the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers, and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Go to sleep. I love you.
Go with the Coopers. Cooper.